I got a 3D printer for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with baseball cards, and yet I find myself combining the two hobbies more and more these days. Here's how a 3D printer added all kinds of fun to my collection. "3D printers have three components. You need a program in which you design stuff, a program in which you can slice the designs, and finally, a printer to bring it to life. The big two design programs out there are Fusion 360 and Blender. I chose Fusion 360 because I found it a bit more intuitive after screwing around with both. It took a few weeks and a few hours of online tutorials to learn the basics enough that I can design simple and moderately complex shapes and get them printed. There are lots of places to download designs and bypass this process, but I'm always interested in a more bespoke option if it exists. Next, you need a slicer that takes the design and slices it into the many layers needed to tell the printer what to do. Most printers have a native slicer program, but Orca is a popular open source platform. Finally, you need a printer. I got a Bamboo P1S, but there are a bunch of other ones out there from which to choose. When you have the ability to create stuff out of thin air, it's amazing how many of life's little problems you can solve. For example, for years I'd used card box dividers comprised of just a leftover semi-rigid with a slip of paper in it. They're fine and practically free. But once I had the printer, I started to think about a more refined option. So a few quick measurements, and voila! I came up with this completely bespoke card box divider. You can easily change colors to match your team, and use whatever logo you like. I threw the Phillies P up there, of course, cut around it, wrote the player name on the top and the font that's used on the back of their jerseys, and hit print. It takes about 20 minutes to print one, and it costs less than a quarter. I liked it so much that I made a whole series of them. Schmidt, Carlton, Howard, prospects, my autographs, and more. A cheap and easy way to personally customize my card boxes. Another hack I've done for years is place a little bit of duct tape in the bottom of my boxes to prevent the cards from sliding around when the row isn't full. It works fine, but now with a 3D printer I can design and print custom box row inserts with ridges preset at certain distances to secure the cards. It is astonishing how well they work. I thought I'd need to secure them down with some double-sided tape, but the weight of the cards and our good old friend friction do all the work. This one is bright green, only because that's the filament I had laying around, and at the bottom of the box no one will see the color in any case. Another one of life's little annoyances is dealers who ship cards with tape on the top loader. Masking tape is usually okay enough to peel off, but sweet merciful crap, Scotch tape is such a pain. It's tough to peel, and it leaves residue that I have to clean off with alcohol if I want to reuse the top loader, which of course I do. Wouldn't a little Toploader cap be better? I thought so a few quick measurements and 10 minutes later I had this, a little plastic Toploader cap. The only thing I found is that fit can be tricky because the manufacturing tolerances in top loaders isn't great. They vary in width, even in the same package, by over a millimeter in some cases. This isn't a universal solution yet, but I'm working on it. Look at this thing. It costs less than a dime to print, snaps right on, you can put a logo on it, you can make it any color, and it goes right into the box and can also act as a divider. Win-win, win-win. Card display holders are quite common these days and cheap too, but so many of them are designed specifically for graded slabs, and the rest of them are just ugly. What about something for top loaders? So I designed up this simple one-piece holder custom fit for a top loader. I thought black would look nice, capitalizing on the tuxedo scheme of SGC. About a quarter worth of plastic filament later, and boom, a DIY card display. Elegant and simple. I made this one for my wife's Kyle Schwarber Red Sparkle. She's got a thing for dumb-looking fat guys who rake, I guess. Anyway, this is another endlessly customizable thing, any color you can imagine. You can emboss a player name, or a team, or a logo, you name it. For those of you who follow along with my Highs and Lows series, you know about my kids' Bryce Harper collection. Up until now, that collection has been in a little pile on his bookshelf. But 3D printing really has no limits, so I designed this little Bryce Harper display that includes a box for the cards, a display for his favorite card du jour, and a proper stand for his bobblehead, which was a present from his uncle. I embossed Harper's name and number from his jersey right on the front, and this took about 4 hours to print, which seems like a lot, but I hit print before I went to work one day and came home, and there it was. When his collection expands past the size of this box, I can just print a companion box and stick it on the back. Endlessly expandable, endlessly customizable. None of these things would make sense but for our 3D printer. If you're going to manufacture something like this, you'll need to make thousands to make it worth the time of a proper plastic extrusion company. But with a 3D printer, you can think it up and have it in your hands in mere minutes, for a few coins worth of plastic. So I want to hear from you. What thing have you always needed for your baseball cards that just doesn't exist yet? Let's solve some problems together and hobby in a new way. Thanks for watching. 3D printers means ideas galore. We'll see you next time on Baseball Card Stories, Legends, and Lore.